Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and a brand new video on Marvel Contest of Champions. Really? What's this? This doesn't look like Marvel Contest of Champions. Very perceptive of you. This is because I Google searched power control because the topic of this video, if you've not read the thumbnail and title, is the top 10 best power control champions in game. So why are power control champions so important, I hear you ask? Well, it's all about helping out certain things like alliance wars. You want to make sure that if you're going against a node that has an extensive power gain to it, then you want to suppress that and power lock it. Power draining helps as well. But let's delve into the top 10 best power control champions with number 10. At number 10 is Vulture. There are a few things that make this champion really special for a little bit of power draining on the enemy. Whether or not it's the Shatari energy and the Raptor strike that is draining 50% of the power, the special 1 and special 2 do apply a decent enough power drain, but it isn't one that's going to accelerate this guy up the rankings to number 1. But he's still a really decent effort at number 10. Next up at number 9 is another tech related champion. Only 3 chart on our list as consistent power drainers or power lockers or power control champions, and this guy is one of them, but it's only the SP2 that we're looking into today for Civil Warrior. Civil Warrior's SP2 is the most effective thing for power draining and depletes 60% of power, putting him obviously at number 9 with a strong bullet. Next up at number 8 is Scarlet Witch. Now some people may say she should be higher up in any kind of list based on her abilities. That is not the case, as power stealing, which is something that is fantastic about the character, only rarely happens and is based on luck and critical hitting. The likelihood of getting the buff or debuff effects to power lock or even power steal is down to the level of chance, and it's all a predictions game. In some ways she should may have been 10 as opposed to 8, but I feel that she's a strong entry at 8, as well as doing power stealing and power locking. They're two things there. Next up at number 7 and a strong entry is Dr. Voodoo, a champion that can power steal as well as power burn. Oh, who doesn't love that combination? There are a lot of great things going for the champion, but it's what we're concentrating today is power locking as well as power control in general. Now it's the SP2 and the SP3 we're concentrating on today. The SP3 is fantastic and has a really strong chance to then take away a huge amount of power, theoretically leaking the opponent. When it comes to the SP2, then you've got odds and evens. On an even combo, you are power burning, and on an odd combo, you are power stealing. Now it could be argued that Dr. Voodoo should chart up a little bit higher, and I think that is a definite shout, though the percentages for an even combo are quite small in conjunction with a lot of other champions we're going to discuss that have 100% on definitely doing a power lock or power stealing or even a power burning. At number 6 is Rogue, a champion that is fantastic at absorbing things, but at the same time she can also absorb power. She utilizes a 100% chance at stealing power on the SP2 and the SP3. On the SP2, 9%, and on my SP3 is a 27%. And once all that lovely power is drained from the enemy, it will seem more likely you can build up to other specials. So going from an SP3, then it's easier to then build up to an SP2 and do a larger chunk of power in a very short space of time being taken away from the enemy. I've in particular had great joy with playing the champion, and she is a go-to champion for map 5 for me when I'm using her in Alliance questing. At number 5 we have Psylocke. This is one of the most amazing champions that does indeed an extensive amount of power locking, power stealing, power burning, all of it in between, though she doesn't actually appear to be incredibly strong. And I understand there are people that will utilize this champion a lot, but it does seem that there are so many more stronger champions that maybe it's quicker to get to the L1 and power lock and even power drain and kind of take all power. There's a lot of other champions like that. That's why she is a strong 5. Psylocke as a power control champion is fantastic. The abilities do represent a really strong release when she was put into the game. I don't think she's as popular as a lot of others, and people may say that she's a bit too overcomplicated to use. But that may be the reason you don't see her quite so much being ranked up any further, and the ones that we were further to discuss actually seem to be an extensively more popular than this mutant is, which is a bit of a shame, but it just goes down to popularity at the end of the day. Next up at number 4, and we've got Vision. This is the Age of Ultron version, obviously whatever version really applies. But power control, this guy is so simple to use. He was tipped as one of the champions to use against Domino, and that is no word of a lie. It is good that this champion does see the light of day. I myself have rank 5'd it based on it being a 4-star. It would be great to have that as a 5-star, but you know, we've got the standard vision that you've got to pay an exponential amount of money for in order to get. Roll on next year when it's going to be a 6-star version. In any case, my own opinion should take a back burner based on this champion here, and we all love him. As I said, really easy to use. We get the power stealing off the special attacks, which is great, but we also have special 1, 2 and 3. Special 1 has a good percentage of power that you can take from the enemy. SP2, 100%, fantastic, and SP3 does a little bit of power related damage, but at the same time it's all about direct damage that represents. A lot of the player base go for special 2, but if there's a situation that calls for it that is building towards you putting in constant SP1s, that is also a thing. It's a champion that I used a little bit when it came to the collector fight in Act 5.2. A lot of players did opt to use that champion as well as Daredevil for the projectile evading. So why they decided to keep the collector down with loads of power just taken off? Well, it's because he gains power, and at the same time when he does those special attacks, you're pretty much wiped out of the game. So that was why it was a champion that the player base went to in order to make sure that power wasn't gaining quite so much. Bringing up the third spot is Hawkeye. This is a champion I think a lot of people may be a bit kind of, really? Is he good? That good at power control? Well, in some ways he is. And in the previous one, we discussed that Vision Age of Ultron did a 39% on an SP1 to then take off that amount of power from the enemy. Hawkeye does a 40%. Yes, that 1 extra percent does matter a lot. But it's good to see different champions of different classes being able to power control. We've seen Mutant, we've seen Tech, we've seen Mystic, and now we're seeing Skill. So it's good to see a big diverse type of classes to then do power control with, especially when you consider you're going to go off against content and go, hey, well, a Mystic's the only ones I can use against this, but I'm going up against a load of Sciences, so therefore should I have something that's different than that? Yeah, I've got a skill champion that can power drain with an SP1. Fantastic. Next up is Dormammu, a fantastic champion for power control, though he's got a bit of a bum rap, especially of late with the changes to Mystic Dispersion. Does really shoot down his value in the game, but it does mean that he's still a strong contender as a very good power control champion. To start with his abilities, if you end a combo with a medium attack, you do take power, you power drain. Even more so if you get imbued. The process of getting imbued is a little bit of a tricky one, but at the same time it is definitely possible. And then moving on to the SP2, where if you do apply that, you power lock the enemy for 9 seconds, which obviously is fantastic. It's a longer time than normal, and even more can be drained power wise if you are imbued. And finally, it has got to be Magic. I absolutely love Magic. It's one champion that I'd love to get as a 5-star, and if they ever release it as a 6-star, oh, that would be fun. But this champion is amazing. So much fun, so much goes on, and I utilize it for a lot in game, especially from the SP2's perspective. The power locking is so significant on the SP2, it just means that even though it's an 85% chance, it usually does hit. I found it like, even though it's 85%, most of the time it hits in with the power lock, and you're finding it like really effective against all or nothing nodes. They can be really frustrating, hitting up to the L3, going against Hyperion and champions that gain power quickly. Yeah, absolutely love this for that, as well as stealing back the power. Who doesn't love that? That means you can get to the SP2 again and then apply it in again and again and again. Granted, there will be certain circumstances where that won't be effective, but for all intents and purposes, she is a power control beast and one of the most fantastic ones in game. But you may not agree with this list. You may say, Rich, I've got a different option of a champion, or you've gone too mystic heavy. Well, have at it in the comments section and come up with some others that you think are better for this list. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more Marvel Contest of Champions based content. I've been RichTheMan, and as always, I shall catch you on the flip side. Bye bye for now.